Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow, helping our folks get their finances in shape. Happy New Year once again, 2025, around the country and around the world, because yes, we're crossing the borders. We're crossing the Atlantic Ocean, and I'm looking forward when we start crossing the Pacific. But right now, we have people from all walks, all different cultures, and that's why it's so great that, excuse me, to have everybody aboard. Excuse me, Don, how are you doing today, dear brother?
Man, I am in New Jersey with my grandkids because my son-in-law got sick, so they didn't make it down for Christmas. I'm trying to get his light to work, but I can't, I can't get,
Yeah,
can't
you
get it
looking
to
like
work. But I'm doing great. Life's good,
okay. I was wondering. There you go. The light work because at first you
but
looking
it
like
keeps
Yafa.
going out. I don't know why it keeps going out.
Yeah, because every time I go out, you look like Yafa Kodo. But remember him in the car wash?
Oh yeah, he just died recently, last couple of years.
You give him the man. So look, you all.
He wasn't in
Yes,
car wash either.
we are here. Um,
He wasn't in car wash, just for the
yes, he
record.
was. He was Abdullah. Remember, he robbed the car wash. That
That,
was Abdullah.
that was Bill Duke, wasn't it?
That damn
Not
sure
Bill Duke.
was. They look alike. That was. I
Yeah,
meant
don't
to
even.
say.
They
You
don't
all,
look nothing
you
alike.
all don't.
They don't
Look,
look
let me tell
nothing
you all a
alike.
little bit about Thomas Doty.
They
When
don't
it,
look nothing alike.
when they black as hell, but that's Bill Dukes. That's a good one. But look, let me tell you a little bit about Thomas Doty. I've been knowing him most of all my life. Most of all my life. And this guy has, I can't tell you time he's been wrong. The most trivia man when it comes to music, this mug gets me. When it comes to movies, he gets me. Definitely when it comes to finances, he gets me. I've never seen nobody like you, Thomas. I've
But
never.
I think that's more reflection of you than it is of me. I'm just
Wait,
saying.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, wait a
I'm,
minute.
I'm just saying.
Oh, wait. When it comes to cars, this mug is like a walking Wikipedia, you all, I swear. But thank you, though. It was Bill Dukes. You're right. Not y'all for God dang. Where I get that from? But yeah, so look, back on point. We here. I digress. So look, y'all, look, we looking forward to a great year. But a few things. First, I'd like to make sure y'all click on that button, hit that like button and hit the heart button, because that gives us tractions and it exposes us to more people based on Facebook. And we want you to place comments, and that's how we make this interactive, y'all. We just want to be talking. If you have some comments or questions or thoughts, please put them in the comment box. And even if not, put things in the comment box, because that increases our outreach even more for some reason. Don't know why, but that's how they do it on Facebook. And make sure you subscribe and have your friends subscribe out there on YouTube. And share Facebook Live with everybody. You can share. Make sure we want to reach more people, y'all. We've been growing our audience. We're so thankful for you all. Dope. I got
Yes,
a
sir.
little pledge I want to give to the people. It's called the FITT Show Pledge. Um, I the next what's okay. So January. I'm saying by June we want to check back in with you, right? You pick which two. Let's say two, at least two of the things I'm going to tell you, right? In 6 months, we want to have decreased your debt by at least your overall debt by at least 20%. Do you think that's fair number?
Uh, it, a lot of it depends on how much your debt is. I just think everybody needs to come up with a target for themselves.
Yeah, no, but
But
this is just the ballpark, like you said, but something to shoot for. But do you think that, or should I lower it to 10?
that's well again. If you got 100,000 in debt, that's still ten
Yeah,
thousand bucks.
okay. How about this one? How about this one? Lower your credit card debt. Let's just focus on credit card debt. Let's say overall debt. How about this though? That you just decrease your debt in the next 6 months. That you could decrease your debt. That's fair though. by,
That's fair.
that's fair. You should at least be able to decrease your debt or your credit card debt. Or if you haven't created a budget, that you would have created a budget and been using it by then. I got another one, though. Another one is that you at least have checked your credit in one of the major credit bureaus for free. That you at least went and you, so you could pick one, two of any one of those I gave you. Let me give you again. You have, in 6 months, we're going to check back with you. In June, you have decreased your overall debt or either decrease your credit card debt, and we would like for you to zero that balance in your credit card. And you know, though, I'm going to add that one. That's going to be enough, fifth one if you choose. At least one of your credit cards, you zero the balance out. You're not carrying over the balance. I don't think that's too bad. All right? Doe, do you have any?
Nope.
So that's it. We call it the FITT Challenge. We've been talking all this stuff. And the reason why I came with that, Doe, because we talk so much, and I know some people have gotten educated, but people are not taking action. People are not taking action. So we want you to take some action. So we're going to check back in. I'm telling you, June the 1st, I'm going to check back in and be honest, you all. We want you to put out there in the comment box if you did one or two of these things that I said. And I'm going to repeat them at the end of the show, and you need to write them down. And it's something to go for you all, because we do all of this talking. If we're not really executing, what good is it? We just, we're just talking. And you know what my friend always say, the lips make your mouth say anything. So thank you on that. Doe. Now, hey, Doe,
Hey,
we are expecting some good news from you today. There's a lot of pressure on you. And we're going to start
good news, my brother.
like we always do, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the stock market, brought to you by Thomas Doty.
I wish I had some good news for
No,
you
say
today.
it ain't so.
Nah, the market's kind of been, it's mostly been about flat. It's a lot of up, a lot of down, but it doesn't really have direction yet. You haven't put the video up yet.
It didn't come up?
No.
Okay, let's see what's going on here. Having technical difficulties. It says the Brown County access screen. Oh, Lord.
Still don't see it.
did it the other day like this, too. How about now, Doe?
Nope, don't see anything. Still see two ugly mugs.
Yeah, they acting up on us, though. So go ahead and talk until I can get it.
Okay. Well, it's hard to talk to it without being able to see it. But basically, for the most part, it's just been pretty flat. Hasn't been a lot of activity. It will go up one day. They got some positive news. It was up big yesterday, and then it's back down. So it's kind of going up and down. And what you'll find is that the market just doesn't have direction yet. So we don't really know where we're going. And the two big things that are really, really changing a lot. I think you got it. Well, maybe not. The two big things that are really causing it, really changing from last week, because the S&P is about flat. It's only up 19 points. NASDAQ is down 141 points, but that's less than 1%. But the big movers in the bunch are Apple, which is down almost 6%. And that's because their sales in China are forecasted to go down. Not only and even staying flat. I think before the other thought was that they were going to stay flat, but now they're forecasted to go down. And the other big issue with Apple is that most of the analysts feel that their AI, their new AI, is not really driving iPhone 16 sales. So it's like there's no reason to really upgrade because you aren't really getting much difference by buying a new iPhone. And the other big stock that's down a bunch is NVIDIA. And that one's it's down 6 points or 4%. And that's really a function of it just gets so much news that any little up, any little down causes a big change. It actually hit its all-time high of 153. I think that was back on like June 6th. And then it dropped. It's dropped 21 bucks almost since that high. Oh no, I guess that's 19 bucks. It's dropped 19 bucks since that high of 153. And there's really no reason for it because there's really no reason for it to go up. It only went up because the CEO was at the Computer Electronics conference in Vegas and said some positive things, and that's when it caused it to go up. And then since then, there's been a couple negative things happen. Biden, one of his last acts was to put a damper on chip sales to China, which caused it to go down. But if you look at it the last 3-4 months, it's been trading in that 130 to 140 range. That's about where it's been. That's where it is now. It's at 134. And I think it's going to kind of stay there until we get results at the end of February. So all in all, the market has been pretty flat, except those two outliers, which are Apple, which is because of sales, and NVIDIA. But everything else is pretty much even. So this is one of those things the market takes some direction, hasn't found any yet. And so just kind of hang in and we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, Dope, we're having technical difficulties. It won't bring up any screen shares today. And that's how technologies act sometimes. It's out of our control. But let me try one more time here. Here we go. Nope, it's not going to happen today, Dope. So with that, Dope, the market, by the way, those stocks are down today. Apple, HP, NVIDIA, Google, and Pfizer, all your stocks are down from last week. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is back up, Dope. It's up by 250 billion in the total market cap. And Bitcoin went all the way down to 93,000 last week. Now it's back up to 100,000. It's up $7,187 from last week. That's 8%. That's a hell of a return, though. And all other cryptos are up. The interesting thing, Tether, which was the stable coin, it dropped from the 3rd spot to the 4th spot. And I forgot which one moved into that spot. But it's so cryptocurrency is up. Bitcoin is up 8%. Solana, the one that we tracking, which is like at number 6, we usually deal with the top 10. It's 13% up. And Dope, why do you think the Dogecoin, backed by Elon Musk, is up by 19%? Do you think that has anything to do with him acting as the president of the United States? Because it's up.
I just think positive stuff's going to happen because they're in a position to make positive stuff happen.
Yeah, especially all those tech guys. They all up there. Bezos, Zuckerberg. So it's almost like back in the day. It used to be Rockefellers and Vanderbilts. It was the oil, steel, and railroad that controlled the economy in the country. Now it seems like high tech, all them young guys. But that's pretty interesting. So with that, Dope, last week, we talked about actually the FITT Show financial resolutions for 2025. But this week, we're going to be talking about financial moves to make in 2025 because there's a lot of things that we need to get on board with. And Dope, why don't you start it off? Why don't you kick it off?
1 second here. I'm having difficulties. Hold on here.
Yeah, something's going on, man, in the universe.
Okay, I'm straight now. Okay. Yeah, last week we talked about, resolutions, New Year's resolutions. And they come and go. People say they're going to lose weight, but they don't. Those are things that require a lot of effort and you have to really pay attention. And usually it's something you haven't been doing and you decide to do. But the stuff we're going to talk about today are some steps you can take to improve your financial health and security in 2025 and the future. And unlike New Year's resolutions where you're usually talking about your weight or not doing something. These are things that you need to do if you plan on building wealth, if you plan on growing your finances, being safe and secure. These are some things you need to look and get done.
So, with that, so 2025, it's going to bring some economic changes. Trust me, with the new shift administration, that's just how it is, and with the potential to hit millions of people's pockets in different ways. And while there's uncertainty, without no doubt ahead, people can empower themselves though the most by focusing on what they can control, not what they can't control. And these things that will be valuable regardless of what happens in the world. So today we're going to be discussing a few ways to put yourself in the best financial position for whatever happens or whatever the next 12 months may bring. Don't want you started off.
Okay. And the first one, and we've talked about this a few times, but it can't be underestimated, and that's changing your passwords. You can't say that enough. Nothing's more important than that. And you think about how often you should change. Most of the experts say you should change them every 3 months, and that's probably not happening. Most people probably aren't doing that. And I don't do that myself. But what I did do is Apple spells out or shows you which of your passwords are weak or which of your passwords are repeated on other sites, or which of your passwords have been compromised. So I did go in and update all those and make sure I had very, very good passwords on all of my financial accounts. I think that's the minimum that everybody should do is change your passwords to make sure they're legit. And some situations you ought to change your passwords immediately. And that's obviously if you were hacked, or if you hear about a data breach, or if you ever happen to use an unsecured network, like you go into Starbucks and use a network that anybody can access that doesn't really have the controls that it should have. If you do, you should go home and change all your passwords. And if you think about all the data breaches you hear about, I mean, every week some big company is having a data breach. And so you got to make sure your passwords are hard to guess, and you still have to change them often. And a good password can make it obviously more difficult for hackers to get at your account. But think about what makes a strong password. You got to use a different password for every account. You don't want to use the same password, even though it's easy to do. You ought to use a bunch of characters, at least 12. And try to think of something that only you would know. Maybe it's part of a song or a part of a saying that you like, or a famous name that only you're familiar with. And try not to use anything that can be deduced from your social media profile, like your kids' names or your high school or things of that sort. And try to make it complex. Use an uppercase, use a lowercase, use numbers, use special characters. Try not to use common words, things like password or just all the letters straight across, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or things of that sort. Those things will get
Jesus
you hacked.
saves. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Those things will get you hacked, right? They also have password generators out there now that can create a password for you, and then you only have to use one password for the password generator. And a lot of those are free. Some of them there may be a small cost involved. But if you aren't going to take the time to update all your passwords, use a password generator and try to make your passwords difficult to guess, difficult to hack.
Hey, Doug.
Yes, sir.
And I know people probably skipped over it, but how you started off, the cyber people said, and I want to repeat this because I think we all are victims of it. It was weird that it said at least every 3 months you should change your password. So just think about at least once a year you should at least, because we don't think about it until they actually grab your stuff. So, though, I want to talk about And some people say, well, I thought we were talking about financial moves. Yes, this is a financial move, protecting your finances. Because people are out there, man, trying to steal your money. Now, number two, use a two-factor authentication to protect your account. I know y'all have heard that before, but hopefully you use a strong password, right, to protect your accounts, like Doe said. But now hackers are used to different tactics, and they're so good because remember they spend while you're at home, not changing your password every 3 months, 6 months, a year. Guess what? Every day they're thinking about ways to break into your money, right? And they're trying to think of the best way they can guess your passwords. And so here's like about 3 common tactics used to gain information. Phishing tactics, so know y'all seen that, where they trick you into giving up your log credentials. They buy credentials stolen in data breaches. And the third, the scammers will reuse users' names and passwords to log into another one of your accounts. And I mean, like I said, they spend they spend countless time because these are experts trying to find a way to get into your information. So best thing we can do is create strong passwords and use the two-factor authentication. And it's, the multi-factor authentication process is much more secure than just using the password only, and an increasing number of websites, and I'm sure y'all seen it, and apps offer multi-factor authentication to increase security. So go to your account settings, look for, yes.
Just explain what that means in case some people don't know.
The
two-factor authentication.
Yes, I was coming to that. I'm sorry, I got a little long-winded. But the two-factor, if you follow the steps, is that they give your device they give 2 steps for you to have to get into to your account or whatever it is, and it could be asking you a name or place that you were birthed, but it'll be two verifications before you can get in. And some of them would give you the password, another password to put in. That's another factor authentication. So some devices like apps choose which authentication method to use. Now others only give you one option, right? But there are three of the most common authentication password is the one-time passcode, where I told you, via text or email. That's one. With this type of authentication, you can get a verification passcode by text or email, and typically it's 6 digits long, but can be longer, and is only good for one login, and it expires automatically. The second one is, I'm sure y'all seen it as another authentication factor, is the face recognition. Now, much of our digital lives are stored on our smartphones and needs to be protected in case your phone is lost. That's why when you use a phone, the facial recognition is so easy to do, because you can use that feature and securely lock your smartphone and your authorized purchases. And then the third one is the security keys are strongest method of a two-factor authentication, because they don't use credentials that hackers can steal. They are physical devices that you use as your second authentication factors. The keys use encryption to confirm that the key is associated with your account. Some plug into a US port and others use a NFC, near field communications, to connect your device when you hold it close to it. So those are several different ways of giving two-factor or just basically authentication protection.
And the important thing about the things we're talking about is building wealth is one thing, but if you aren't maintaining it or keeping it, then you're going backwards. So that's why we're talking about these things. The next thing I want to talk about is protecting your important data and documents. And if you can, you should have both digital and physical copies of your most valuable documents. and that may be your tax returns, insurance papers, things that have your personal information on them. And it's good to have redundancy in those in case they get lost, damaged, or theft. And if you lose one, you have the other one. And you got to secure both copies just to be safe. And documents, that's an ongoing process. It's not something you're going to do once, but you got to make sure you keep your information safe and update your protection strategies regularly. If you have paper copy storages, the best option is to have a fireproof and waterproof safe at your house, or use a safe deposit box at a bank. And if you do have a safe deposit box, make sure you give someone access to it in case something happens to you. Understand what the laws are in case somebody needs to get at it and you can't for some reason. If you have electronic copies, you need to store them in a password protected format, either on a removable flash drive, external hard drive, and then keep that with your paper document somewhere very safe, waterproof, fireproof, or in a safe deposit box. Or you can use a secure cloud-based service like Apple iCloud or Google Drive. Those things are pretty secure. Just make sure you encrypt your documents or files before you upload them, or you put a password with them. And something that we didn't talk much about before, but it's becoming very, very prevalent now is natural disasters and floods and hurricanes and tornadoes. And so you might want to make sure you got all your documents secure in case that happens to you, because you're going to need that stuff to make insurance claims or to get disaster relief. And you can actually go to FEMA. They have a information that you can get. It's called the FEMA's Emergency Financial First Aid Kit. And that'll explain some of the things you need to keep to make sure you have a plan in case you have a natural disaster. And a couple other things I want to mention, and this one's personal. I had a toilet overflow with water just coming out from upstairs all to downstairs, and kind of did a lot of damage. So one of those little things you want to make sure you do, make sure everybody in your house knows how to turn the water off on the toilet, and make sure everybody in your house knows how to turn the main water switch off. Okay, that's going to minimize your loss. If you leave water running, or those hoses on your wash machines. I had one of those pop once, and that's another thing that probably needs to be changed every so often, is those hoses on your wash machine. They do wear out. Most stuff does wear out. So make sure you know where those two water switches are, because that can minimize your loss if something happens. Another thing you need to look at is updating your insurance files. A buddy of mine was telling me about a friend he knew out in California, in Altadena, that just had the big fire go through, and they had their homeowner's insurance. The value was $700,000, but the last time they checked Zillow, the value was $2 million. So you need to make sure you have your insurance up to date in case there is a natural disaster, that you'll be able to get the proper coverage that you need. Something else you need to check is to make sure things are covered that should be covered, okay? Or you aren't mistakenly thinking you have coverage and you don't. I don't know if you heard about all the floods up in western North Carolina, and I read where 99% of the people didn't have flood insurance. And that really wasn't an issue until recently, because of the global warming, that it's now become more of an issue. And so if you feel you need to get flood insurance, if you live in a floodplain, make sure you have it. If you need to, make sure you have hurricane insurance or earthquake insurance. I'm not sure about how you go about getting those, but if you're in an area that may have that type of natural disaster, make sure you have insurance to cover it. And then little things, like I had this toilet overflow, and the insurance company said I needed a plumber's report. And the reason they gave was, they said because they want to make sure that whatever the issue was doesn't happen again in a month or two. And I mentioned that to one of the contractors who was at the house, and he said, no, that's not why they do it. They do it not hoping, but making sure you didn't have a sewer backup, which may or may not be covered. Unfortunately, I did have that extra level of protection of sewer backup in my insurance, but he was telling me not a lot of people do. So take the time to make sure you understand what insurances you have and pay the extra to get all the insurance that you need, because if something happens, it could be really, really bad. And one last thing I would suggest everybody does, is to take a video recording of your belongings in case there is a natural disaster, so you can prove what you have. Because if you file a claim, it would be hard to do that from memory. It'd be much easier to do if you have a video recording and can walk through the values, what stuff is worth, what you think you paid for it. You'd have a better chance of getting reimbursed from the insurance company as opposed to trying to do it off memory and not having any proof. Because you got to remember, insurance companies make money by not paying you money. Okay, that's how they make money, collecting their premium and minimizing what they pay to you. And so take the time to make sure you have the right insurance, cover yourself so you have backup for things that you paid for, and even something as simple as a lot of times your health insurance. They can code things incorrectly and end up saying they're not covered. But take the time to make sure your insurance is right and you're doing the things necessary so you have the proper coverage.
In other words, make sure you read the documents too, though, because I was told by a friend of mine, he's saying about he was in a flood zone, but the flood zone was covered only by a flood caused from a body of water, not from rain or something like that, not from or a pipe busting or something like that. I'm like, what? So read the policies and make sure you understand. But but the big thing is, like Doug was saying, you need to really, really, really get your documents in secure position. Next, I'd like to talk about another financial thing you need to do. Adjust your W-4 tax withholdings. For those people who are out there who have the job getting compensation, and you can change your W-4 withholding for any reason and may do so whenever you wish. And I suggest you adjust your tax withholdings if you had a dramatic change in income, and usually that's it, or have a life event that will impact your filing status. Because when you have too much money withheld from your paychecks, you end up giving the government an interest-free loan. And getting a refund. But on the other hand, you have too little from your paychecks, and that could mean you get an unexpected tax bill or a penalty for underpayment. So make sure you make the right adjustments, because any change in household income, whether up or down, could put you in a different tax bracket, and you're required to modify your holdings. Anytime your income goes up, the tax liability will likely go up too. And if you get laid off from your job and stay unemployed for the rest of the year, guess what? You may have too much withheld for the year while you're working. So a couple of things, that triggers, why you should adjust your W-4, change your income. You or your spouse get a second job. You or your spouse get a job, or you change job, or your spouse is unemployed for the part of the year. And if your filing status changes, if you get divorced or had a birth, adopted a baby, or one of your children are longer dependents, that can actually affect your finances, adjusting your W-4 withholdings.
Okay. The next item I want to mention, and we talk about this, just seems like we talk about it every other week, and that's make sure you got a budget. You have a budget. You understand your budget. You know where your money's coming in. You know where your money's going out. If you don't have a budget, your financial strategy has no foundation. You're just getting by day to day, and everybody's expenses are different, income's different, goals are different, but a budget can help you keep straight, help you understand where your money's going, help you make changes so you can increase the amount you're saving, you can increase the amount of debt that you're paying off. Those are the things you have to do if you're going to build wealth. And the one thing that most people forget to do when they build a budget is to try to anticipate what their uh, upcoming events might be, such as if they got a wedding, vacations, if your car leases expire, or anything like that that you know is coming. Make sure you include that in your budget. Yeah, it's hard to anticipate what emergency things are going to come up, but that's why we always talk about having an emergency fund. And there's a bunch of different budgeting apps. I think we talked about that a few months ago. There's also rules of thumb that you can use. There's the one that Senator Elizabeth Warren put out, 50-30-20, where 50% of your money goes towards essentials, 30% of your money goes for everything else, and you take 20% you save. And there's variations of that. There's another one called a 60-30-10. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what budget app you use. You can't be taken seriously as far as trying to build wealth if you don't have a budget, if you don't know what money you have coming in, you don't understand what money you have going out. There's no way you can think you're serious about building wealth.
Hey, Doe, just want to take a moment and address a good friend, Jennifer Bain, and backtrack. She said, every time I change my password, I don't remember it. Do you have any tips that can help her with this so many passwords to keep track of?
And that's where you get creative and you pick something that you can remember. Maybe it's a song, a sentence you like, and you take the first letter from every word, or you just be creative and create something that means something to you, but probably doesn't have meaning for anyone else. Okay, and that could be, like I said, the words of a song. It could be a name your 5 or 6 favorite places and take 2 or 3 letters from each one in a specific order. Again, nobody else is going to know that but you. Okay, it could be the 10 people who were in your wedding party, and maybe you take the first initial and you put some numbers in there, you put some special characters in there, you capitalize some. That's the way I do it to make sure I remember. In some cases, I just let Apple create a strong password for me, but in others, I use things that mean something to me, but probably won't mean something to anyone else.
No, I write them down on a piece of paper.
That I keep. You shouldn't do that. That's not good.
But this, guess where I keep it though. I keep it in a safe place. Like especially for some other things, I keep it in. This is crazy. I do keep it in my safe. On ones that are for other things, I do keep it in safe. But I was just thinking, because everybody runs into this, and that's why they shortcut and don't take the time to change their passwords. Because, like Jennifer said, they just don't take the time to. Well, it's not that they don't take the time. Like Jen said, they just don't remember them. But I'm with Doe. I try to do things, that are important to me, and so I guess there's really no too much other way though. Other than they do have some like you say Apple, and they do have these apps out there that are password apps that can save and recreate for you. So you can Google that and check that out. Though I want to talk about another financial move for 2025. We've mentioned this before, but your retirement plan contribution, we cannot talk about that enough, because if you did get an end of year bonus or raise, you need to consider using some of that to increase your contribution to your 401k plan, because in 2025 it's up to 23,000, and the catch up 50 and over catch up is 7,500. But what a lot of people don't know the Secure Act 2.0, and that actually, believe it or not, it was signed under Donald Trump, and then it was, sort of updated under Biden. But the Secure 2.0 Act, the Secure Act 2.0, it actually passed in 2022. They anyway. It's it stands for setting every community up for retirement enhancement, and it was over about 90 different changes to retirement plan, to retirement accounts and things like that. And it lets but there are so many. But I just want to talk about a couple main ones that they're letting employees add a emergency savings account, which you can, it's a defined contribution plans that have that, and it allows your job, the accounts must be designated as Roth accounts, and they must also be available for non highly compensated employees. But the contributions are capped at an annual $2,500. It's called an emergency savings account within your 401k that allows you under the Secure Act to do. And this could be, you can make contributions to this account up to $2,500. And then you can have the first 4 withdrawals. You can make withdrawals in a year will be tax and penalty free. And the contributions can be eligible for an employee match. It depends on your company's plan. Now, this is to give people, because there's emergencies that come up, and the emergency funds can encourage people to save for unexpected expenses. That was the purpose of it, to get people to save as emergency fund, as well as for some short-term saving goals too. Include emergency savings accounts with a retirement plan is at the discretion of employees though. And your plan administrator can offer you these alternatives. So also in 2024, employees were able to begin matching contributions for student loan payments to your 401k or your other workplace retirement plans. With a student loan repayment kicking in after a multi-year pause of repayments due to the pandemic, that could be a great incentive for workers for still paying off their loans. Now, only higher educational expenses are eligible, and employees will have to certify annually that your student loan payments, that they qualify, and they actually match them, which I think is great, though. Even if you just making the minimum payments, you can still may be eligible for a 401k match plan. You just need to check with your plan administrator. But go out there, Secure Act 2.0, and look out there, y'all, because there were so many changes that to your retirement plan. They increased it to in 2024, actually 2023, 2024. The required minimum distribution is 73 years old, and in 2033, it's going to be 75 years old. So it's a lot of things like that. And didn't want to go through each and every one, but just want to give some key ones to you, especially that emergency funds account that you can have.
Yeah, and as far as building wealth, one of the things I've always tried to make sure I understood, or that I always did, and mostly it applies to anything you do in life, but it's making the layups. Okay, and the analogy of basketball, me and Bob go way back as far as being teammates on Penn State's team. And so basketball has been a part of my life for all my life. But in basketball, you got to make the layups. And when it comes to money and financing, one of the layups is making sure you take advantage of all of your employee benefits. That's something that takes very little effort as far as, going through your employee handbook or going online and seeing what your benefits are and making sure you take advantage of those things. But those are layups that there's no excuse for not doing. It's not like we're talking about going out and understanding option trading or commodity purchases. Those things require a level of knowledge, a level of understanding, a level of just things that you might not know. But reading and understanding your employee benefits That's how you get your full salary at your job. They're going to get everything they can out of you, and you are totally remiss if you don't get everything out of them. So that's my PSA on
All right, Dope,
employee.
before you move on, because you talked about employee plans, but I want to also mention this for self-employed people that have their own business. There are also things that you need to take advantage of for your retirement plan and being self-employed. For instance, maximizing the IRA, maximizing out on the Roth, and there's the SEP plan, simplified employee plans, which give you up to $30,000 that you can put away, as opposed to the limited 7,000 in an IRA or the limited 23,000 in a 401k plan. So there's also, you need to take advantage of the retirement things that are there for you self-employed people. There are things out there for you too. That's my PSA.
Last thing we want to mention is looking for higher returns on your interest rates or paying lower rates on your debts. Okay, and interest rates are coming down. Everybody knows that. Everybody's been looking forward to that. All the work the Fed has done has been to lower interest rates. And impact's going to help out borrowers, at least it should, and it's going to affect savers. But just because interest rates are going down, that doesn't mean you should not be diligent in trying to find the highest interest rate possible. Again, so if you put away $10,000, a 1% increase in your interest rate is another $100. Okay, and you can multiply that to 100,000, where 1% is $1,000, and it's just a matter of shopping around, and because you can still get, there's still 4%, 4.5% interest rates out there on high yield savings accounts and money markets, but if you look at some of the banks, what the banks are paying, they're still around 1% or less. So it's really important to take the time to make sure you're getting the highest interest rates you can. And if you do sign up for a CD, make sure that you understand what the terms are, whether or not it's callable, and all the ramifications of owning that CD. Because if it's callable and it's a high rate, they can send it back to you as soon as interest rates drop a little more. They actually did a survey, Bankrate did a survey, and found that 2/3 of Americans were earning suboptimal interest on their savings account. So again, to me, that's another layup. You got to get the highest interest rate you can. It just takes a little work. You can do it on the internet. You can Google highest money market accounts or highest savings accounts, and it'll spit out to you institutions that are paying high interest rates. And now is a good time to do that and look at CDs, because again, in some cases you can lock in a higher yield. Some are still offering 1 year. It's just a matter if you're lucky or if you can find one. But you won't find it if you don't look. And think about laddering them or buying one that maybe is 1 year. You might get another one that's 18 months. It probably will pay a little lower interest rate, but still some of the interest rates are, as I said, still over 4%. And money you put in a CD, it usually has a time limit. If it's 1 year, you don't want to pull the money out in less than that time, because in most cases there's a penalty involved, and so you got to make sure you won't need the money anytime soon. But in other cases, you can lock in those interest rates from a few months to several years, some even 5 years. So again, take the layup by taking the time, make sure you're maximizing your interest rates, and if you have debt, as interest rates go down, look for ways to lower the interest rates that you are charged. Okay, whether that's going to the bank and asking for a lower rate, refinancing it, using a credit card that pays a lower interest rate, some that pay a teaser rate for a certain period of time, 0% for a certain period of time. You can do those. There's a lot of options you can make, but if you don't take advantage of interest rates going down, both in what you're receiving in savings and what you pay in debt, then again, you're not making the layups.
Yeah, no. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have the screen sharing that we normally would share our summary and takeaways for today, but we're just going to give them to you from off the top of our head. And I just want to start off though with be diligent. And be diligent is just mean being steady, being earnest, and putting in the energetic effort, like making sure your password protections are there, making sure you protect it and watching the emails that you're clipping on, those phishing, what they call them, the websites, which is called farming, that they can lure you to go out there and with discounted things and make you get all fast and get out there and they put Trojans on your computer and steal all your information. Be diligent with your phones. Protect your phones. Don't be laying them down and be in place. You never know who's looking over your shoulder. And we talk about this all the time. Your credit report, you got to be diligent. We talked about the credit report and freezing your credit, and I hope y'all did that. But I guarantee you somebody on this screen today did not go out there and put a credit freeze or credit, what's that word they use though? It's credit freeze.
Credit lock.
And credit lock.
Credit lock.
Yes, and credit lock. But two of them says credit freeze. And you go right on and just click the button on or off. Okay, Garnett said check, go Garnett. Wait, thank you, those. Thank you for listening. But be diligent, you all. Be diligent.
Okay, and that's the first step is being diligent. The second step is being alert. Okay, you can be diligent and do all the work, but then you get on your computer and you get an email and you react incorrectly to it. So you have to recognize fraudulent situations, okay? And they look realistic. So you could have done all the important stuff as far as password protection and making sure your phone's safe and your credit report's up to date, but you still have to make sure you don't fall for the okie doke, okay? And there's some things to remember, and they're as old as the day is long. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
That's what
Nobody's going to be giving you anything, okay? There's nothing free out there. There's nobody, you probably ain't won no sweepstakes, so stop thinking you have. If you're tired and have sleep, don't open things that you aren't familiar with, because a lot of times scammers look to take advantage of you not being on top of your game. Okay, so they look for people who weren't diligent and have weaknesses, but they also look for people who aren't alert and on their game. If you get on the internet, you need to be on your game and ready to spot something that's not right. Remember, the scammers used to be, people used to look at them as just people who were crooks. Now they are intelligent people who are professional, who have AI to help them, and they're very good at what they do. That's their job, and they are becoming perfectionists at their job. So not only, as Bob said, you need to be diligent, but remember, you also have to be alert.
Got a good question though. How do we recognize fraudulent activity? And I can tell you to start it off by educating yourself and knowing what they're doing out there. That's one way to educate yourself to all the scams and schemes they have, and that's what our whole purpose is. When we're on here and talking about protecting your information, protecting your documents, and protecting all your financial information, and it's just understanding that, like Doe said, phishing. One thing, and I hope this helps you, Jen, is when you see, Norton, my virus from my computer. I knew it was coming due, and I got a alert saying that, hey, I need to pay because it's getting ready to expire. And it's amazing that they knew that it was getting ready to come up and expire, but it had Norton's logo, But what you need to always do when you get emails like that, always click on the from button, right? And almost every time you can tell that it's not like a company, because either it's going to have the company's name .com or .net or .org or .gov, but it's not going to be some crazy whole bunch of string of 12 different letters. It's not going to be somebody's personal name. And that's one way, Jen, that you can help yourself for the fraudulent emails is click on the from button, even though you see the logo from Verizon and they're telling you to put some information in. And this other thing, like the IRS say, they'll never call you for some information. You know, they're never going to email you for information. IRS going to send it directly through snail mail to your house. And so that's some of the ways, Jen, it's just understanding the things out there to do. Like the websites. You just can't be clicking on every website.
Yeah, and don't answer the phone if you don't know who's calling you. If it's important, they'll leave a message. 99 out of 100 scammers do not leave messages. If you don't recognize the caller, don't answer the phone, okay? If they say they're your bank, for example, you bank at Wells Fargo. If the call says it's from Wells Fargo, call the number on the back of your credit card or on your debit card, okay? Do not, for example, I got a call from Aetna and they were trying to tell me about some new benefits. And so, it shows up as Aetna, but I don't know that it's Aetna. So the lady says, can I have your social security number? And I said, no, I'm not giving you my social security number because I don't know who you say you are, right? And so I said, I'm gonna call the number on the back of my medical card. Now, how do I get that call forwarded to you? And she told me how to do it, and I did it. But don't give any information over the phone. That's a simple rule.
That's the other key, though.
If it's your bank, call them with the numbers that you know to be good. If it's your credit card company, call them with the number that's on the back of your card. If it's an email, you know what emails you should get from the people that you deal with. And most of them do not send random emails. So again, if it doesn't go to your spam folder and you don't recognize it, it's probably not real. You can look on your account and see what you owe to know if you're past due or payments late or a check didn't clear. So most of everything you get is spam. And a lot of times it's curiosity that get people in trouble. They want, oh, who is this? And we get nervous, especially as we get older. And I myself am guilty of this too. You react when someone says you owe something or you won something. You know,
right.
We automatically react. We get a little nervous, and we start doing things that we don't ordinarily do. And you just have to remember, you probably aren't going to win anything, okay? And you know what you owe. You should be on top of your finances, so you know what you owe. So those spam emails, you don't have to even look at. Just delete them if you don't know where they're from.
Just the other thing too, though, you said react. Another key is slow down. That's how they get you. You get to moving on fast, you're doing different things, they hit you with the email, or you're late with this particular payment and you rush it. Just slow down, because that's how they get a lot of people. They got me one day because I was rushing doing stuff, and I thought just for sure it was, like I said, Norton, and they got me. And I'm like, oh, dang, because when I slowed down, I'd already gave them information, then I looked at the email, got. And that's the other thing. But and last part one is, if somebody's calling you for personal information, people are not going to be calling you for personal information. Just like, this one company called me and said, oh, and they had my address. Said, this is Robert Kinzer at 115 Chesley Court. Yeah. Well, look, you need to make this payment because they did this, such and such and such and such. I'm going to need your, credit card information. I said, wait a minute, you called me. So that's the first other flag to y'all. If they ask for personal information over the phone, they came to you, Not you went to them. They came to you. That's the other giveaway right there. Right there. So anyway, I just want to take a moment.
Hey Bob, the one other thing is the a lot of people got with the you have a critical virus on your computer.
Right.
Okay. Nobody's volunteering to fix your computer. Do not give anyone access to your computer. If you have an issue with your computer, call a reputable computer repair company. Okay. Do not respond to pop-ups on your computer. Do not respond to emails that you don't know who they're from or who pretend to be someone that they're not. And do not answer the phone if you don't know who's calling you. Those are the simplest rules to follow. And if you do, you'll probably be safe.
You'd probably be safe. Let's take this home, though. Next to the last one, we need to update and protect your documents. We talked about that. And when we say also protect your documents, you need to put them in a fireproof safe, because since you have them in your house and you got them in a safe place and you have a fire or floods or hurricane and they're gone, but put them in a fireproof safe to protect a lot of your documents. Keep them electronically and both physically if you can. But now they got the iCloud, right?
Yeah, about fireproof and waterproof.
And I was trying to, when I was saying, I was trying to think without, and waterproof. Thank you very much. Joanne Skinner saying, almost got with the computer pop up. It's all the time, y'all. Take us home, dope.
And the final one, and we've mentioned this before, the first step is to know. The second step is to do. Okay, it's one thing to know, like, you should update your credit report. Take a look at it. You should put the credit freeze on. You should update your password. You should have a budget. All that's well and good, but if you don't follow through and take action, you're fooling yourself.
And normally I end the show with a quote of the day, but that's an original quote by Thomas Doty. The first step is to know. The second step is to do. So you got to know to do to know. You know what I'm saying? No, like Ray Charles say, let it do what it do, baby. So with that, you all. But don't. I'm sorry. I still have to give a quote of the day. First of all, thank everybody for being on. We got a lot of people out there. If I miss you, forgive me, or I don't see you out there. But the ones I see out there is my brother Carl Chapman. Thank you as always. I just read this dope. Them mugs, okay, Carl and Rodney Madison. They say, yeah, dope got you again. Remember when Earl on the top dope, when you got me with the Bill Dukes? They said, yeah, dope. But y'all all dope fans. Y'all get off those too. Okay, Joanne. No,
I told you again, that's a reflection on you, not me.
I don't need you to tell me that again, okay? Jennifer Bing, Ma, Jen Jims, that's the greatest daycare in the whole world. Jen, thanks for being on. Modestine, and she lets good evening from Lexington, South Carolina, South Carolina. Now, what's up now? Edwards Doty, thank you for supporting us. You always there, strong. Garnett, what's up? Thank you. Joanne Skinner, my wonderful sister Linda, my gorgeous sister Gloria, and my fantastic sister Nolia. Y'all are the best, man. Thank y'all for being on. Thank you so much. And I think I got everybody. Thank you for being on. And I'm closing you with this quote, even though you did give us a wonderful quote. My quote of the day is, rich people stay rich because they pretend to be poor. And poor people pretend to be rich. And they
stay
poor. Thank you. I lost myself there.
I know you did. I got you, my brother.
All right, you all. Thank y'all. See y'all next week. Remember, y'all put some ideas out there or things you want to cover. And this year, we're going to be having guests on that's going to have even more incredible information. So I know you might be tired of hearing us, but we're going to have some people coming on to you. And that means you, Rodney, get ready for the noteexperience.com, and you can explain and give us some understandings on another alternative investment in mortgage notes. With that, thank you all and have a wonderful week. And we love you. Have a good day. See you next week.